Nelson died about 12 years ago, and we didn't know at the time that suicide was the single biggest killer of young men, and I thought I was a pretty sort of connected guy, and we were so shocked, and his family was so shocked, and we found calm. And we went to see them. There was about 5 of them in a sweaty little office in Southwark, hope they don't mind me saying that, but a little stuffy office in Southwark. And we said, Nelson's just died, this great person, we really want to put something on for him. And they said, well, absolutely, what can we do? And that was that, really.
Started out, we'll do a bit of an event, hopefully get everyone together, raise some money, but mainly just to get sort of friends, Nelson's friends, try and remember him, try and do something positive after, obviously everything that happened, and everyone turned up on any kind of bike. I think one guy did the 100 on a Brompton in tweed trousers or something like that, and it was real sort of carnage, but everyone got round, and then sort of afterwards people got a little bit more sort of knew what they were dealing with, so it got a little bit more professional in terms of the riders, so the odd inner tube was actually bought and things like that. So I think about 400, 450 in the first year, and we've sort of grown, but it's been pretty special.
When people come to Tour de Test Valley, you're a part of something big. And you're a part of something so brilliant and so positive that never gets rained on. Don't quite get that. But there's something when you've got the buzz of the barn in the morning and people are getting ready and they're getting their gear ready and they're getting their bikes ready, and there are the people, you and me, standing around at the front, shouting at people, trying to G them up. And we're not putting a kind of circle of plastic chairs around and asking people to sit down and share their feelings. We're not, because lots of people don't. I'm not going to do that. Lots of people don't want to do that, right? But being amongst that in that cultural channel where there's music playing, there's beer, there's great people having a great time, and there's kids running around and everything. You're a part of a group, and we're pack animals. We've got these stupid brains that allow us to talk, and they're too big, but we're pack creatures. And I think when you couple that shared passion point of cycling, loads of families, a lovely sort of familial and friendly environment with the cultural channel of cycling and sport and the rest of it, stuff happens in people's brains. The good chemicals get released. And what I love about Tour de Test is that you're helping solve the problem while you're doing it in real time, but then the blast radius of what you do goes out as well.
Riding on Nelly's been a really important part of my life since it started as a friend of Nelson's, but with 4 years ago losing my son to suicide as well, it's been even more important for me to get there, and as a way of just connecting with everybody again. The year I lost Hayden, it felt like it was a huge help to me to be able to turn up to the event, even feeling as, with it still being raw, so raw. Because I was in a bit of a state for quite a while, but it really helped me to come along, see everybody, talk to the guys in the calm tent, have a few beers with mates and get out for that ride. And talking about it was always going to be hard, but I think not talking about it is harder.
An entire event sort of raising money for a charity like Calm, you go and you hope you're there with people that maybe understand you if you're going through bad times, and maybe you go there and you think, well, okay, all these people are here for a reason. Some might have known Nelson, some might just like cycling, but some might have felt a bit down in their time and been in trouble. They might have known someone struggling, and so they've come along to support this event and the charity. So I guess you're with hopefully a lot of people that potentially could understand and you be a bit more, make you aware that you can talk to people, and you if you are struggling, that there are ways out and there are ways to help.
It's not just a cycling event. When I've struggled with going through rehab and feeling not very good, to be able to come and be in such a great environment with so many people who support it, and to know that actually it's okay to not be okay, and to not be judged for that either. I think it's just incredibly important.
The talking bit, it's such a cliche, but it is still the most powerful bit. You don't have to be bathing in the woods in Japan, you can just be talking in a field or cycling around a muddy lane or on your mountain bike or dressed in your lycra or whatever. So talking is, and we need to keep pushing that point, because when Chris and I walked into the office 11, 12 years ago to start this event, it was very much about suicide and bringing down this number of the single biggest killer of young men. That number hasn't really gone down, so we need to be that sad, emotional mate walking back into that room and doing that again. And I think not everyone's going to like that, but we need to start doing that in the next few years with the event, and that's what Calm are doing, it's what their ambassadors are doing, and we need to do that and not just be tipping our hats and thinking we're sort of done, because we're not.
After all this time, and after all your involvement and Tour de Test, the numbers are still horrific. This isn't like a limited audience problem. This is a national public health emergency. And really worryingly, I've got two teenagers, and they are a part of a group. So 16 to 24s of all genders are the fastest growing group in history to demonstrate what is called suicidality, a propensity to consider suicide as an option. And then the subgroup inside that is young females from 10 to 21 is itself the fastest ever growing group. So, we're fighting on multiple fronts. It hasn't lost its reason to exist. It hasn't become something different, but it grows and it develops, and more people, like we're saying, families are coming, kids are riding. There was a kid did the 50 last year on a little bike with a teddy on the back. It's like, how do you do that? But I think that it retains its core value, but it grows with the audience to meet them.
We now have a 7-mile Vans family ride on Rascals, it's called. It's taken a lot of work to safely put that on, but I think we had 150 odd people do it last year. We did a live chat at the end of last year, and the kids were on the bales, sat there listening to Matt Barr, Scove, Julia Elliott, Billy Morgan, the Olympic, talk about mental health, talk about stresses, talk about social media, and I was like, this is what I want this to be. Like it or not, all of those kids and families are now part of this mental health, suicide when it's right for the kids, the right age conversation, and I'm really proud of that. Because families, bugger me, need the help at the minute. We all do.
The event itself is a preventative measure when people come into contact with it. If we think about the things we want to address in suicide prevention, there are 3 key standouts. There's giving people a sense of self-worth, giving people a sense of being a part of something bigger than themselves, and then giving people the avoidance of a sense of entrapment. So that stops people going from ideation, which is a normal part of humanity. 1 in 5 of us have suicidal ideation in our lives. It's a total species level thing. The means of prevention, according to the World Health organisation are low cost but highly impactful. And fundamentally important, central to that is talking about suicide. It works, it prevents it. I often kind of reflect on it that we don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. I didn't have the language, the ability to talk about it. Meet someone who's been bereaved. Meet someone who's lost their kid or their parent or their loved one or their mate. Meet someone and then come away from a conversation with them and say, I still don't want to talk about it, I'm too squeamish. Because I challenge anybody, if you see what it does to people, you think, right, well, I've got to help stop this. And doing it with positivity, things can change, things can get better. And that's what I think Tour de Test Valley shows us.
Nelson meant a lot to me. I knew him for many, many years and snowboarded with him a lot. He was a huge support for me in my riding competitively, but as my friend as well. And I think something like this is, it could have been the difference. You know, I don't want to say that, but like, it could have been the difference. And knowing that that is there for other people is fantastic, and to be able to show, you know, my support for an amazing charity like Calm in this way is, yeah, I mean, it's ideal.
To hold an event and raise some funds, I think it's still a really important thing to do. It's done amazing things to help Calm and anybody that contacts. Yeah, these events are really important, I think.
You know, someone might have turned up to the event, you know, feeling in a bad place, and you know, maybe went away and thought, you know, there are ways out of this. You know, it doesn't need to, you know, that there are other options. So, you know, to have helped anyone, I think, you know, I'd be proud of that, I think.
Whenever I talk about the event, it's hard because I get sucked into just talking about sort of me, Chris and friends and the snowboard community that make the event happen. But for 10 years, Chris and I would have been absolutely stuffed without loads of people, right from Nelson's mum, who makes the legendary brownies that everyone obsesses about, down to all of their like farm friends and friends that do all the feed stations, that make cups of tea for 600 people that are there in high vis, all the army crew, Nelson's old army crew that he coached, who I would be absolutely stuffed with, who run the bars, and all the, you know, all the parking and all the stuff you don't see, and it's such a cliche, but our event would never ever be what it is, without their support, but just their attitude, their friendliness, their like openness, and just the smiles and their hard work to make it happen. This event now, it almost wouldn't matter if it was the Tiddlywinks World Championships. It's become a community. And our event has become the one that everyone seems to come back to. People come from all over. We had people coming from Vannes, Belgium, you know, all over. And they're remembering Nelson, but they're doing it cathartically for themselves. And it needs to exist for all of us. I mean, it helped me with my mental health, but for Nelson's family, it's a way of them still feeling that love, that his life and his spirit just hasn't disappeared in the field, in the grass. It needs to exist for other people who've been sucked in and have heard about, didn't know about Nelson until they turn up, and then they go away with a bit of Nelson, and they use Nelson's story and that real raw sadness to maybe help someone else. It needs to exist for my kids. My little lad Sonny said, "So Nelson died of being sad, did he?" I was like, well, yeah, in a way he did. And so it even helped my 6-7-year-old Sonny talk about it. And without being blunt, the snowboard community, Vans, all of us do have a bit of a responsibility now to keep it going and Nelson's legacy going, because it needs to exist for lots and lots of different people, ages, genders, races, everything. And it didn't initially. It was just like, we'll just see what happens. But now it has become something a bit more powerful for all of us, I think. And I've seen that in the last few years. And again, I'm proud of it, but we've still got a lot to do, a lot more to do.